He has labored, he has suffered to lead his people into the land of freedom. He is the Redeemer and the champion of liberty, of human equality. Let's salute him, fellow Ghanaians, the nation's founder, Sajifo Kwame Nkrumah. May God bless him, Ghana showboy, Africa's great son, Sajifo Dr. Nkrumah.
And we're live on Pan-African Television. It's another wonderful Saturday morning. It's time for us to bring to you the mother of all talk shows, Alhaji and Alhaji. We are also live on Ahunto 92.3 FM. We are live across the country on several affiliate radio stations, including Bawa Radio in Yendi. We are also live on Mantambo Radio in Tamale. We are also live in Tamale on Diamond FM. We are live in Akashi on Shine FM. We are live in Ketekrache. Not sure about the pronunciation of the name of the radio station, but I think it sounds something like Nyanawasi. I'm here to get an official confirmation of exactly the name of that radio station. We are live there. We are also live in the Volta regional capital of Ho on Global FM. And then we are live on Volta 1 TV. Volta 1 TV. Thank you for making time. My name is Sena Nombo. It's my pleasure to bring you another edition of the show with the massive support of the crew here at Pan-African TV, led by Tijani Badamasi, who is the producer of the show, Edem, among others. We are grateful to come your way once again. Don't forget, it is important that you share your thoughts with us. Very, very important. If you're watching us, you can watch us through Facebook. Let me introduce our social media handles. Facebook, Pan-African Television, spelled out in full. Pan-African Television. You can watch us there and use the comment section. Make a comment. When you make a comment, I'll try as much as possible to read as many comments as I can. We are also live on YouTube. YouTube, Pan-African Television, Pan-African Television. If you want to listen to internet radio, you can do that through any of the radio streaming apps. Look for Radio Gold 90.5 or Ahunto 92.3. Ahunto 92.3, and you get to listen to us. Before we let me just share with you the statement that is currently making the rounds on the issue of the NDC manifesto, which is raising some serious concern. Let me get that statement and read it out to you, because if you recall, the manifesto was supposed to have been launched on Tuesday, 1st September. That was the initial date that was announced. Now we have this statement that is signed by the General Secretary, Honorable Johnson Asiedu Nketia, issued on 28th August 2020. And it says, at its weekly meeting held on Thursday, the 27th of August 2020, the Functional Executive Committee of the National Democratic Congress has fixed Monday, the 7th of September 2020, as the date for the launch in Accra of the party's manifesto for the December 2020 general elections. This is to enable the National Executive Committee and the Council of Elders approve the policy principles and strategies promised in the manifesto. The event will be held virtually in accordance with the appropriate COVID-19 regulations. It will be streamed live on various media outlets throughout the country. So now it will be held on the 7th day of September 2020. On that day, the Saturday after that, Monday, somebody has made me a promise to appear on this show. I'll be holding him to it. I'm just giving him notice. We'll take a short break. When we come back, I'll introduce my panel and the issues for discussion on the show today. This is Alhaji and Alhaji, live on Pan-African Television.
He has labored, he has suffered to live.
Hello, what are you doing Tuesday to Friday, 7:30 to 9 o'clock p.m. every day? You should be watching The Couch. I'll tell you why. On Tuesdays, we talk social issues, lifestyle, health, all those everyday issues that affect us in the big ways. Let's Wednesdays are for book reviews. Thursdays are for the hard talk, those socio-economic, policy-oriented, political questions that demand for the tough questions to be asked. And Personality Profiling Fridays, when we get to know the stories behind the winning personalities we love. Inspirational story from inspirational personalities. Hey, listen, you really cannot miss The Couch with me, Amma, but still the only TV show with a hat.
These people into the land of freedom. He's the Redeemer and the champion of liberty, of human equality. Let's salute him, fellow Ghanaians, the nation's founder.
Welcome back from that break. Once again, if you're just joining us, the mother of all talk shows, Alhaji and Alhaji. Here we say it as it is, no matter who is involved. In the end, we'll leave you better educated on the major issues for discussion. Now, this morning, if you look at the flyer that we've provided for you, it was advertised that Mr. Kwesi Brajine will be joining us in the studio as usual. But this morning, due to some personal difficulties, he's unable to join us. So let me introduce the panel I'll be working with today. This morning, my very good friend, Michael Kobnampo, has joined us after a long absence. He is a former Deputy National Communications Officer of the New Patriotic Party. He has joined us on the show. We are also joined for the first time by Executive Director of the Alliance for Social Equity and Public Accountability, ASEPA, Mensa Thompson. We'll be joined by Ambassador Sampiale, a trade unionist. At some point in time, Chief Executive of the National Pension Regulatory Authority. He's held several positions in the public domain, most recent being the position of former Ghana's High Commissioner to India, and is currently President of the NDC's Professional Forum. He'll also be joining us. And then we'll have Gabriela Tete, who is a member of the communications team of the National Democratic Congress, also joining us on the show. This morning we are discussing the issue of Ejapa royalties. Major issue for discussion this week. We have seen a press conference that was addressed by the finance minister. But before that, there was a press conference addressed by some civil society groups who were raising questions about the state, their opposition to the entire arrangement. And they have continued to state that if they win power in 2020, in the December 7 elections, if they come to power in 2021, from January 7th, they will not abide by that arrangement. Well, we'll be talking about that. And then we'll spend some time on a relationship that was forged in June 2016 between a company called KRL International and I Am for Nana Foundation, headed by Mr. Ken Ofori-Atta, who is currently the finance minister. Well, KRL International says if you go to their website, they list the election of Nanado as one of their success stories. Subsequently, we are now finding out, according to open source investigations, that KRL International has been engaged and has been working for the government of Ghana. Open source investigation says they have been doing that for the NPP, but are being paid with taxpayers' money. KRL International says they have an arrangement with the finance ministry. They work for the finance ministry, not the New Patriotic Party. Our friends at ASEPA have headed to the Shraj, and they're asking Shraj to investigate the matter because they see some issues that need to be dealt with. And then we'll spend some time talking about the New Patriotic Party Manifesto, and especially the issues with the Cape Coast Airport. Very interesting things that happened. Friday, the president had issues. Saturday, the vice president announced that they were going to construct it. The information minister tells us, well, that was strategic. Well, what do you think? We'll be talking about that issue too. So thank you very much for joining us once again. Once again, your comments are very important. We'll start with the issue in relation to Ejapa royalties. And I start with Mensa Thompson of ASEPA on take his comments on that particular issue. Good morning.
Thank you. Good morning. Thanks for having me.
Wonderful. Nice to see you.
Yes. only you failed to come for my birthday party yesterday.
that was a birthday party after the birthday on Thursday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you. So now, on the issue of a Japa royalties, it's a very heartening issue, very, very emotional one, and emotional to the extent that for the first time in the history and the governance of this country, the country has been hijacked by some possessionist groups, and I use the word possessionist because we have some group of people who have found themselves in power, who have seen the institutional weaknesses that our governance system possesses and are exploiting these institutional weaknesses to the best of their advantage. And that is exactly what is going on as far as the Japa issue is concerned. So otherwise, we've had our mineral royalties instituted since only God knows how long. We've had governments after governments come up. They've received their fair share of the royalties. They've worked with their fair share of royalties, and they leave for another government to come to also benefit from the royalties which the mining companies pay us. Apart from that, the mining royalties, because of our entire mining architecture, seem to be the only form of benefit our country enjoys, apart from the jobs that it creates for our people. The direct benefit we get from mining. When we mine these minerals, how do we benefit as citizens? And that is why the royalties has been dedicated that when these mining companies take our resources, they go to the world market and sell our gold, our minerals. Before they even take out their costs, their expenditures and what have you, every revenue they accrue from the sales of these minerals, 5% is dedicated to the people of Ghana. That is the only thing we get for mining in this country, apart from the jobs and associate benefits that we get. So with all the pollutions these mining companies cause, with all the mess they create in our system, with all the distractions, with all the unneeded competition between mining and agriculture that is happening, with all the effect on cocoa, which is one of our major cash crops, that is the only benefit we get, 5%. So now, within the last 4 years, this is how much mineral royalties have accrued to the government of Ghana. In 2016, 550 million Ghana cedis was accrued in mining royalties, which was paid in 2017 to President Akufo-Addo and Ken Ofori-Atta, the finance minister. In 2017, 702 million Ghana cedis was accrued to the government of Ghana in royalties. It was paid in 2018. In 2019, 705 million Ghana cedis was paid in royalties to the government of Ghana. And in 2019, which has been paid in 2020, we received over $1 billion in royalties. Now, before Ken Ofori-Atta and President Akufo-Addo would tell us that these royalties that we have received, which in excess is about 3 billion Ghana cedis within the past 4 years, is not enough to develop, to do the things we need to do, and for that reason they are mortgaging this to go and take $500 million to come and develop. First, they must tell us what they've done with this 3 billion. And this in dollar terms is about $502 million. In dollar terms. So 520, sorry. So within a period of 4 years, you've earned mining royalties in excess of about $520 million. Within 4 years. Yet you claim you don't have money for development. And for that reason, you want to construct roads. You need infrastructure. And so we are going to mortgage our mineral royalties for 15 good years for $500 million. Meanwhile, you've gotten $500 million in the last 4 years. What kind of Oyata must be telling us first before they bring this shady thing, before we can even have all this conversation about Japan, is they must tell us what they've done with the mining royalties that have been paid to them in the last 4 years. $520 million. What have they done with it? You see, Sena, if these royalties were being expended on tangible infrastructure, expanding the economy, creating jobs for our people, then this Japan could somehow have been justified that, look, these people are doing so much within 4 years. The $500 million that they got from the royalties, they've done A, B, C, D, and the country has benefited so much. For that reason, if they want to go for an extension or even take some money up front and do some job quickly, let's give them the chance. But you have not accounted for the mineral royalties you have received in the last 4 years to the people of Ghana. You have not told us what you've used those monies for. Then we wake up one day and all we hear is Asase royalties. And it was just under the carpet, nobody knew what was going on. The whole thing was shredded in secrecy. We woke up one day, we said the thing has changed from Asase to Ejapa. And fortunately, I was on Asase Radio when the chairman of the Finance Committee of Parliament, Marcus Ibeyabua, was called to find out why the sudden change in name from Asase to Ejapa. And he said on air, and I was on air that day, that the name Asase was creating problems for the shareholders of Asase Radio, and so they had to change it. Sena, since when did government start considering private entities' activities when they are taking decisions? That is the first side of it. But Sena, let's look at this whole Ejapa thing. And some people may want to qualify it, they may want to go into the nitty-gritties of it. Sena, this is broad daylight thievery. It is broad daylight thievery, and there is no amount of words, no press conferences can whitewash what is happening. It is broad daylight thievery. Sena, we have our mineral royalties, which we get $200 million at least from every year. Now you say that this money is not enough. You want to go and take money and come and use for development. Then you set up the Mineral Royalties Investment Fund, saying that when the money comes from our royalties, it should go to the bank. When it goes to the Bank of Ghana, it should be placed into that fund. It's for the fund to manage it. That is not a bad idea. Then you woke up one day, you said, no, for the money to be lying in the fund, why don't we invest the money? You want to invest the money on our behalf. Good. If government of Ghana want to have resources and they want to invest it, it's good. There's no problem with that. It's okay. How do we invest it? Then you say that you have created a company called Asase or Ejapa to manage my royalties. You have set up a company called Asase Ejapa to manage my royalties, to manage the sovereign resources of this country. Then you say that this company which you've set up is not registered in my country. It has been registered in another man's country to manage my royalties, to invest my royalties. Then you say that this company that you've created and registered abroad, who doesn't bear the name of Ghana, has been registered abroad, has been registered in a tax haven. And for those who don't know, tax haven is a place where monies which cannot be accounted for, monies whose sources cannot really be declared, that's where all those monies are stashed. Politicians in Africa, when they steal our resources, our money, they take it to the tax havens, because that is where nobody will ask you for documentation, the source of the money. Drug dealers, when they get money, that's where they go and hide it. Weapon dealers, smugglers, when they get money, that's where. So all illicit activities, people who make money illegitimately, they hide it in tax havens, because that is where there is little documentation, and nobody will ask you for where you made those monies from. You said that you've registered the company which is going to invest my royalties in a tax haven, a place where there's little documentation. Nobody can even, as a journalist, you can't even write to the company there to ask for information to manage my royalties. Then again, you said that now government of Ghana is going to own 51% of this company, and you are going to offload 49% on the London Stock Exchange so that you can make money. Now, Sena, do you remember PDS? When the whole restructuring of the energy sector was happening, the whole arrangement started somewhere under the previous government, and under the previous government the arrangement was 2080. Then immediately after this government won power, they told us that they don't want a private entity to own 80%, and so they are going to give Ghanaians majority shares. You remember the conversation that happened? That's the explanation they gave us. And so they changed the agreement again from what? From 51 to 49. Yeah. Again, they have something very special with 49. 51, 49. Then the 51, which they said they are giving it to the people of Ghana. They want Ghanaians to, they are giving it to the people of Ghana. Sena, eventually, who were the people who acquired this 51% of our stakes in our electricity company of Ghana? It was persons close to President Akufo-Addo. But the explanation that we were given is that they were giving this thing to the people of Ghana. And so now, if you listen, it is the same narrative they are giving us in this Ajapa deal. That, government is owing 51%. We are giving 49% to the people of Ghana. You are giving 49% to the people of Ghana, but you are floating it on the London Stock Exchange. Then when that issue came up, when we raised that issue, Sena, they said they were going to also float the thing on the Ghana Stock Exchange as well. Meanwhile, they have forgotten that the networks of the stock market that does intermarket tradings does not include Ghana Stock Exchange. Then when that issue were raised, they said, now they are going to get a third party financial entity in the UK or in the US or elsewhere to acquire some dedicated shares, which will later be offloaded on the Ghana Stock Exchange, probably at a higher cost to the Ghanaian. Again, you don't understand what they seem to do, all because this 49%, the idea of floating on Ghana Stock Exchange is just to cover up and create the impression that it's going to be for the people of Ghana. Meanwhile, this 49%, they have people who are going to acquire these shares on their behalf. And so now, how can we sit down as a country, okay, and allow one group, not even one town, not even one clan, just one family made up of a few people to hold the whole country to ransom like this? You started with our electricity, we did not talk. You collapsed the banking sector and strengthened your family's bank, we did not talk. You collapsed legitimate Ghanaian businesses and established yours, we did not talk. You collapsed legitimate media houses in this country and established your family media house. We did not talk. Now, you want to capture our entire mineral royalties for yourself and your family for the next 15 years and even in perpetuity. So now, have we suddenly become weak people? And we watch on, and these criminals who are parading the corridors of power, and we say we are citizens? So we cannot allow this to happen. We cannot allow this group of people to take this country to one side. And you see, yesterday, the other day, I listened to the finance minister, and I was laughing. It's ridiculous, and he thinks that he can come to the open and shed some crocodile tears, and Ghanaians will fall for this charade. You did it with this Franklin Templeton bond. You, through your third parties, acquired a significant, just just you. So now, do you know what is going to happen if today that Franklin Templeton guy gets up and decides that he's going to move that his asset from our country? Do you know what is going to happen to our economy? So you come and sit down and said, except quoting in his usual manner, quoting scriptures, you know, I don't know who he thinks is fooling. I want to tell Ken Oforiatta, we are not fooled by that charade, and he must be very, very, very careful, because this country does not belong to President Akufo-Addo and his family. This country belongs to the people of Ghana. It is a sovereign country that was built from scratch, was built from the sweat and blood of some people. And even, Sena, there are people whose ancestors even toiled, shed more blood for this country than the Akufo-Addo family. And today, because you're in government, because the people of Ghana have made a very regrettable mistake of handing the powers of this country to you, you think that this country belongs to you and your family, and for that reason you want to capture everything. Extreme totalitarianism, possessionism, want to possess everything in this country, so you and your family must eat, all others must go to bed on empty stomach. So now, can we run a country like this? And you see, my heart bleeds, because you see the danger they've created in the system. They've made the country unsafe for businesses, unsafe for occupation, unsafe for ethnic, you know, interrelations and what have you. With everything that they have done, just because of this clannish, you know, family agenda that they came to push in government. And so now, it's about high time we, the young people of this country, rise up. Because you see, 15 years, President Akufo-Addo would not be anywhere would be nowhere near government or near this country. It is you and I, our future. And so, look at the amount of money we've accrued in just 4 years. Now you say that for the next 15 years, this money is, so governments who are going to come after you will not get a penny to develop. Then you have how these royalties benefit the district assemblies. The district assemblies where these mining companies also operate, who rely on some of these allocations for their own local development. Then and I'm a bit sad, Sena, that to date the chiefs who are the custodians of the land have not spoken on this matter. The chiefs must come out strongly and speak, because what is going on is a threat to the sovereignty of this country. It's a threat to the security of this country. Sena, there's nowhere, even go to the Arabian countries who practice the kingdom system, that is only one family who is in charge, in possession of the country's resources. It doesn't happen anywhere. The moment that happens, you are nearing war. You are nearing a conflict. You are nearing, you know, what do you call political instability. Because the hardship that is being created in this system by this possessionist agenda of President Akufo-Addo and his family, the rippling effect on the system will create a lot of hopeless, jobless young people who have nothing to do but resort to criminal activities that will destabilize the safety of this country. And so, apart from, forget about our money that they want to steal, what about the effect on the system? That one family rise up from nowhere and want to possess everything in this country. The Akufo-Addo family must tell us what they have done for this country for that reason they believe we should give them all the resources in this country. And remember, you see, everything that they are doing now has been with them for a long time. You remember the incident of Osafo Mafo? When Osafo Mafo said the resources of this country comes from a certain particular areas, and for that reason only those people should be in charge of the governance of this country. Remember? So, Sena, are you surprised that today Osafo Mafo is giving mineral royalties to his son? Are you surprised? Are you surprised that today Osafo Mafo, the man who told us that the only people who must be in charge of this country are the people who come from resource areas, where the resources of this country come from, today comes to government and establish a Japa and give it to his son, and say that and look in our faces and tell the good people of this country that his son is competent? Of course, we are all dumb. We are all dumb. There is no Ghanaian who knows anything about fund management in this country apart from Kofi Osafo Mafo. There is no Ghanaian. No Ghanaian has any knowledge in fund management. It's only Kofi Osafo Mafo who has the knowledge and experience. In fact, he is the internationally acclaimed fund manager in the whole world. Such rubbish. And we watch on, and these people who are nearing their graves make this, heart-wrenching decisions, destructive decisions for us. And as a young people, we sit down and we watch them and we don't do anything. We don't speak up. The moral society is quiet. The media is quiet. Apart from a few civil society organizations, the rest are all quiet. And Sena, we can't run this country like this anymore. We need to be serious. This Ejapa thing is nothing but a group, President Akufo-Addo, willing the mineral royalties of this country to his family members. It's nothing more. And there is no whitewash, no press conference is going to change the narrative. Ejapa is President Akufo-Addo willing the mineral royalties of this country to his family members. Period. And nobody should come and bar us with technicalities. We've seen the age's opinion and what have you. It is what it is. President Akufo-Addo is willing. He thinks the country belongs to him. For that reason, he is willing. He's writing a will. Ejapa is President Akufo-Addo's will. That is his will. This is Akufo-Addo's will. Like a father who is dying or who knows that he's not going to live forever. And so he's willing his properties to people. Unfortunately for President Akufo-Addo, the mineral royalties does not belong to him. And so he cannot will it to his family members. We are not going to allow that. And we did some advocacies in the week. And we chalked one success, which is key to mention. A few days ago, Bloomberg published a story. Bloomberg, the international financial website, published the statement by the former president that the deal, when he assumes power, the deal will be terminated, and other issues that civil society organizations have raised with the deal. And I believe it's one of the key things that we've chalked in this advocacy, because now the international community and international investors will know that there's a huge risk. Well, if you put your money into this, there's a huge risk associated with this. But Sena, the only problem is that this 49% shares which they say they are going to offload on the London Stock Exchange, it is not open to all investors. They know there are people that they are going to give to. And Sena, it is our money, the monies of this country, which President Akufo-Addo and his family has stolen within the last 4 years, which has been stashed in this tax haven. Now, they want to find a legitimate means of bringing the money into our country and legitimize the booty. You see, and that is why our anti-money laundering alert has risen. You see, this SPV that they've created, all they do is that this 49% shares is going to raise money from investors outside the country, right? Good. Do you know where the money is going to come from? It's our money. The money President Akufo-Addo and his family stole, and they went to hide it in the tax havens. Now, they are going to give it to people to come and buy these Ejapa shares. Now, when they buy the shares and bring us that illegitimate money that they've stolen, we will in turn give them our mineral royalties every year, which is a legitimate money which its sources can be declared. So this is a clever form of money laundering. Clever. Very clever. You see, money laundering. Clever. Just to clean some dirty money which has been acquired. You see? And Sena, we are sitting down and we are allowing this to happen as if we are some toothless people, as if we don't have conscience, as if we don't think about this country, as if you know, like we've all given up. We've thrown our heart in despair. Sena, we need to fight for this country. This country is under siege. This country is in the grips of some possessionist groups. Some possessionist group called the Akufo-Addo family. And we must fight on to rescue this country. Sena, we must fight. We must not, if you're a young person and you're listening to me, this is the time. Because this is about your future. The future of all young people. The future of our unborn children. You see young people walking about helplessly. When we have all these monies that could create, you know, productive jobs for them to be gainfully employed and earn a decent living. But we have one family and we allow them to capture everything, and they and their family members are enjoying, and the rest of us can go to hell.
Thank you. Let's start talking about SEPA. Starting on the discussion on the Ejapa royalties issue for us. I'll come to Gabriela shortly, but let me just read a couple of messages. You see, Visa is saying good morning and said, in fact, Sena, what is happening under the leadership of Nana-Addo and Bawumia is not healthy at all. The Mpp government is ruling the country. Okay, the Mpp government is ruling the country like a shifting institution because they soon forgotten that we have voted them into power. But don't worry, 7th December is just around the corner when we shall kick this clueless, incompetent family and friends government. Good morning to the incoming people, Nanaruga Bada constituency, Alhaji Baba, say it's safe. We'll have to take a break. We have have a small issue to deal with. We'll be back.
Morning is an important time of the day because how you spend your morning can often tell you what kind of day you're going to have. I want you to have a great day. So start your day with me because I can guarantee a great show every weekday on Good Morning Africa right here on Pan-African Television. I will be serving some inspiration, news, business, health, newspaper review, music, and so much more. Join me, Kwame Owusu-Danso on Good Morning Africa on Pan-African Television. Let's have a truly African morning. Medasi.
He has labored, he has suffered to lead his people into the land of freedom.
Come back from that break. I believe the issue has been resolved. Berima will say, let me read a couple more of your messages before I go to Gabriela. Berima will say to saying from Otun for the communal crossfire Ghana. So Japan royalty is better than Exxon Cubic. I think it is time we CSOs do our best to speak to issues like this one. Government is becoming increasingly corrupt. Fokofi from Ayen Suano says, it's clear President Akufo-Addo and his family want to take over Ghana. The Japan deal is a broad day robbery spearheaded by, and the only way to end this disaster which has befallen us, which has befallen this country, is to vote for His Excellency John Dramani Mahama. Them jump on side saying, great show by all standard. God bless you for the good work. My regards to all your panelists. Dennis Yao Akwete says, it is becoming so obvious that if Ghanaians fail to actualize the rescue mission, some individuals of the supposed owners of Ghana would have become richer than Nkrumah's Ghana itself. It is indeed becoming too dirty and pathetic, to say the least, but the good Lord will certainly deliver us. Shalom. Actualize the rescue mission to save Ghana. Lovely Goni in Suga Copper says, political language is designed to make life sound truthful and murder respectable and to give an appearance of solidity to pure wind of this MPP government. Thank you. Udeduj says, is it true that the president has accepted the debate? When we vote for someone who has never experienced hardship in life, what do we expect? Ijapa is daylight robbery. It says 5% of our own mineral resources. Are we really serious as a nation? How will we ever develop? So those are just some of the messages you're sending to us. Gabriela.
Sena, good morning. I want to say a good morning to my co-panelists. A good morning also to all people of Ghana across the nation who are watching, both far and near, those in the diaspora also who watch us online, and those following us on social media and on radio. I also want to say good morning to our flag bearer, hard-working flag bearer and his running mate, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, and Professor Nana Jane Opoku-Agyeman. I want to say a big thank you to the people of Ghana who have welcomed them into their communities for the time that they've been out campaigning, and to the other regions that they'll be calling on. I pray that you also offer them the same warm reception when they come to speak to the good things that the NDC wants to do for the people of Ghana come January 2021 to 2025. The Ejapa resource deal. Indeed, it's a very controversial arrangement. You see, the need for a mineral incomes investment fund is important to consolidate our gains from mineral royalties. But the special vehicle that has been created to manage the product of this fund is what all of us are speaking to. In the narratives that I've heard over the past 2 to 3 weeks surrounding this deal, one thing that is clear is that this deal lacks transparency. It lacks transparency from the time when government announced in the budget that we're going to have a consolidated program under the Minerals Income Fund. To date, a lot has gone on that government did not open up to not just civil society, to the legislature, to the judiciary, and to the people of Ghana, including the media as well. Because when you listen to all sides of the argument, there's a lot of confusion surrounding this deal. From the inception of the Minerals Income Investment Funds, I heard the Deputy Minister for Finance, Honorable Edu Boahin, talk about how they even went about the recruitment of the people who manage the fund. According to him, they engaged a foreign HR firm to headhunt the people who are the personalities who are leading this fund. Case in point is Honorable Osafo Mafo's son. In the public service, there's a Public Services Commission which does recruitment on behalf of government of Ghana for people who come to work in the public services. The Minerals Income Investment Fund is a public service creation. It is created by an act of parliament. In the recruitment processes, it is mandatory that you open up the process to all Ghanaians who qualify. The question is, even if they did engage a private company to do the recruitment on their behalf, was the process opened up to other Ghanaians? The second issue is, in looking for the legal services for this project, was the process opened up in terms of request for consultancy services, opened up to the general public for other legal service companies to also put in their bid for this project? In the financial arrangement, was that process opened up for those involved in the financial services sector to also see which of them best qualifies for this assignment? The answers to all those questions is vague. And for me, that is where we started making our mistakes on this project. I heard him say it is by coincidence that the chief executive for the fund happens to be Honorable Osafo Mafo's son. Because when the headhunters, going by his experience and all that, he's very qualified in investment finance. It could be true. But until the process is opened up for him to compete against others, and where we do not know whether that process even happened, and so long as it was he, a politically exposed person, son to an equally politically exposed individual, who, from what I hear, 2012-2016, was one of the financiers of the Mpp UK, now coming to lead a public sector agency or product that should now be for people of Ghana, that does not have any political coloration. So the personality that is already heading it, that was where they made their first mistake. The process was shrouded in secrecy and not opened. So there are questions as to the candidature of who this chief executive of this fund is. That was one. Then on the legal services, we have Africa Law and Associates, Africa Legal Associates, which is owned by my dear friend and namesake, Mr. Gabriel Cherdako, and his wife. Now, if the process had been opened up for consultants for legal services to come, we know who Mr. Gabi Ocherdako is. He's a nephew to the president. He's a very active Mpp member. He's some people even have given him the nickname Prime Minister of Ghana. He is now offering legal services on this project. The first name of this SPV was Asasi Royalties, which interestingly is also bearing the same name of a radio station owned by Mr. Gabriel Cherdako, Asasi Radio. So there are too many coincidences in this deal. Then there's a third issue. In the MIIF Secretariat itself, now looking at all the other people that have been engaged in that secretariat, who were also supposed to have been headhunted by this so-called HR firm, which did not go through the Public Services Commission protocols as is established on how do you employ people into the public service. Were all those people there placed there based on merit, or was it an issue of who you know did the placement? Because if it wasn't, and it was also shrouded in another system of connection to get jobs, they didn't open the process up also at that level to the people of Ghana. Be it as it may, to the SPV itself, we are giving up about 76% of our mineral royalties to a fund to manage. My dear friend from ASEPA, Thompson, has already given a breakdown of a lot about the SPV, so there's no point going into much details about it. We've had 15 CSOs in the mine and extractive sector raise concerns about the SPV. It lacked consultations from them. We did not engage them. A lot of the objectives that have been set out by this SPV, for this SPV, are not even agreed to by anybody except the very people who are managing this fund at the moment. The Attorney General, in her correspondence July and August, raised issues about the legalities surrounding the SPV and the administration of it. She raised issues about how, looking at how that contract was drafted, that should there be any legal challenges, Ghana will not be able to raise any legal challenge against her own products. Can you imagine that? Something created in the name of Ghana, but the Ghana Judicial Service or the Ghanaian courts cannot make any pronouncement on a legal creation of Ghana or on a strategic creation, financial creation, and investment creation for the Republic of Ghana. Isn't that absurd? Now, we have these CSOs also raising concerns about the duration of the appointment of the people managing this SPV. In the Public Services Commission, within the Public Services, now what a lot of these acts that set up these commissions do is that the chief executives usually have about 5-year tenure. Your renewal is subject to your performance and acclamation from the board and the government. Here we've set up a case for an SPV to be manned by somebody that we've already explained is a politically exposed person. Now we've given this position appointment in perpetuity, which means that for as long as we are engaged in gold mining in Ghana, whoever is the chief executive and whoever is the board chairman can be there till their kingdom come. We currently have about 15 mines that are contributing to the royalty fund. This does not include future concession agreements. Now we know that we have large gold reserves also in the northern part of Ghana, which are yet to be developed. We do not know actually how much that is going to, how much gold production is there yet, but we are estimating that from these 15 mining companies that are giving us roughly about 150 million to 200 million, that the ones in the north should also give us roughly about the same, because we are projecting about 11 concessions, future concessions in the north. That should bring the amount to about $400 million per year if we are patient and allow for the other concessions to also come on board, and ensuring us that we get royalties in the region of between 300 million and 400 million per year. Could be more, subject to gold prices. But now we've rather jumped ahead of ourselves, going to create a vehicle. This fund, we should get between 500 and 700 million dollars in advance payments now, which again, the assumption they're making is that when they float these shares of the fund, we should be able to raise between 500 million and 700 million. With all the controversies surrounding this special vehicle, I doubt if by the time when they're ready to float those shares, we won't be able to make up that money, because it's already in the international news that our SPV is already getting bad reviews. And for investors, nobody wants to go and put their money into something that is high risk and is not going to give them high rewards. What do we do now looking at the situation we find ourselves. It is obvious that, I don't want to use the term state capture, but it is obvious that the whole deal around that product, special purpose vehicle called a Japa Resources, that whole deal is a bad deal. And it's important that we put a halt on it and go back and open up the processes from scratch. If we want to leverage gold royalties for future whatever, and whatever you want to invest the money in, before we jump in, they make the argument that the current royalties we are getting is paid into the consolidated fund, so they're able to track what exactly is used for. But if the money is going into your investment fund, that is no longer going to the consolidated fund, because you have now halted that money going to the consolidated fund. So you should be able to know exactly what the mineral investment, income investment fund is investing into. Using that as an excuse to create a special vehicle, mind you, that's why I've done it. I said that the MII fund itself is a good project to do, because we now see what exactly we're getting from mineral royalties. But the baby that this thing has created, this MMIF has created, is where we have an issue with. Take this whole special purpose vehicle thing off. Let us go back to basics. Go back and engage with the mining communities, the chiefs and the people who are entitled to a say in this royalty business. Go back and engage with the district assemblies. Go back and engage with civil society organizations. Go back and engage with the mining companies that are working and producing and giving you the royalties. Is there another way that mineral royalty funds can be managed without us going to float any shares anywhere and trying to raise 500 million one time, and then the rest over a period of time, which we don't even know how much they're going to raise. We don't even know for how long it's going to raise. All we know is that it is a project in perpetuity, so that kingdom come before that whole thing ends. So there's a lot of work and a lot of opening up that has to go around it. And mind you, when it comes to gold, we've been producing gold in this country before the colonial masters came. That was what actually attracted the colonialists to come to this part of Africa. The communities that produce the gold are some of the most deprived communities. Should the focus be on creating a special vehicle that is only going to enrich some people, that looks like it is a particular group of people that have taken over royalties of this product for Ghana? Or do we, as I mentioned earlier, engage the other groupings and see how we let the gold royalties work for the communities that are producing the resource? Look at Obuasi, look at Apa. Last year, there was a whole demonstration, burning tires. They held the whole road siege for about 5 hours. Vehicles that were traveling from Western region to Ashanti region were held there because the community were protesting against the quality of their roads. And yet Takwa is one of the richest communities when it comes to gold mining. I was chatting with a friend of mine who is into small scale mining. He was telling me that on average in a month they can make about $16 million, and that is a local gold mining company. So imagine what the big ones are making. Should we let foreigners be the ones to always take our concessions? Can't we support local Ghanaians, those doing this galamsey thing? Aren't there some fantastic entrepreneurial hardworking ones that we can help to develop the resource and use the resource to develop the communities where the resources are? That we have to be the people who are the shirt and tie in the suits, scheme around the small monies that we are getting as a country from mining of gold to now transfer to the London Stock Exchange for others to now come and invest in, just because we want to excite ourselves that we are the first to create this investment fund in Africa. If we want to be the first to create whatever fund in Africa, and be seen as the first, why don't you go about it the right way? Because right now, everywhere I hear this Ejapa deal, like Thompson was saying, there's all smacks of some cabal that is trying to take siege of our mineral resource. Perhaps that is not their intention, but for all the intents and purposes, and with all the funny coincidences they keep mentioning, it's by coincidence that Osafo son is managing the fund. It's by coincidence that Gabriel Chidako works with the legal firm that is providing the legal services. It is by coincidence that this person is this. It's by there are too many coincidences which rather raises more questions for us than answers.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Let me, in case you're joining us, we just joined us, we are watching the Mother of All Talk Shows, Alhaji And Alhaji. We're talking about this whole Ejapa royalties matter. The minority in parliament insists that the whole arrangement is illegal because as at the time parliament passed the arrangement, the law had not been assented to. The legislation backing the SPV had not been assented to by the president. So it was not law. So parliament cannot assume what they call speculative jurisdiction. And also, the former Minister of Finance has also been raising issues with it. He also raised the issue of money laundering, that we are just drawing the attention of people. Everybody will be watching us and wondering what we are doing. And so those are some of the issues that are being raised. We're having this discussion here in the studio, and some of the comments you'll be sending to us. This one is Philip Padika, also on Facebook, says, please, all this chop attitude by those few people in Ghana that are realizing and exposing them, what next? Do we end it on the platform after talking about, and that's all? Tell us the way for it. Secondly, do members of the MPP also realize this and do not comment on it? I send that from Italy. Okay, thank you. Positive Change in Medina says dishonest, deceptive MPP party and government communicators and foot soldiers are always making mockery of themselves, that JM will never become president again. Akufo-Addo's defeat in this year's election is inevitable. Even God cannot save him from going back to opposition. Ghanaians deserve good governance and better leadership. But Eduje says, is it true that the PDS can be discussed on air again as now in court? Is it another ploy to brush it off? Now, Sena Nombo says, good morning. I salute Mr. Thompson. He should continue doing the good work for Mother Ghana. In fact, Ghanaians should make sure that they kick Akufo-Addo. Johnny Walker says, Ghanaians, please arise and demonstrate against the Ejapa agenda before Akufo-Addo will our resources to his family members. Balasi Said says, Nanado and Finance Minister, Senior Minister, and others are trying to deceive Ghanaians. Everything is going wrong. Only loot and share. Arrogance, characters, killing and beating people, insecurity, injustice, intimidation. God save Ghanaians. Dan Silva Tete says, send this from Kaswa. Says Akufo-Addo and his family want to sell the whole Ghana to themselves and leave us in abject poverty. I foresee Ghana's return to 1983 pair. Divine Gato says, to me, all that I can say is God is in control and he will make all this come to pass. For he is the voice of the voiceless. For it's God who enthrones and dethrones. Hakim Saka, let me read and then bring in my good friend Michael Ampon. Says, I don't understand why the MPP is taking Ghanaians for a ride. They are busy stealing everything from the good people of Ghana. In fact, Nanado and his family are looters on an industrial scale. Michael.
Yeah, Sena, in a long time, eh?
Yes, too long.
Thank God for life and health. Once again, good morning to everybody here. The big man himself, Your Excellency, Apome. Anyway, that was my coursemate at the university. Anyway, I'm happy to be on this set. This is one of the biggest intellectual platforms in this country. If I'm not mistaken, I'm sure it gives way to all the other intellectual platforms. It is not just a political platform. It is a kind of platform that you will be sending people listening to. So when you have the opportunity and the privilege of appearing on this platform, your credibility and your integrity you once again for according me, and greetings to everybody out there. Well, I'm very much impressed with Gabby's presentation, some aspects of it, because they were very legitimate concerns that she raised, like questions has to do with what was the role of the Public Service Commission in the recruitment process and the consultancy services. Likewise, her recommendation of perhaps going back to do a wider consultation from the very base level. These are very legitimate concerns and recommendations. I want to commend you for that. In as much as I also appreciate and the kind of statistics given by the earlier minister, but I thought he was speaking as a rep for the civil society organizations. Am I not wrong? Am I wrong?
No,
but his inspirations were too much. Oh yeah, they were just too much. They were just too much. You see, my worry is the way and manner we handle politics in this country, the sort of character assassination that goes with it. It is just too bad. And if we're not very careful, we'll get to a point, people of substance, a lot of people will want to. And I want to cite an example. I recall from a few years ago, the way and manner people raise their mouths on Ibrahim Mahama, virtually castigating him, insulting him, even where he has good intentions. For them, look at we don't know the sort of danger that would not pose to people. If you can recall 2014, the incident that led to about 200 people died when there was a small rainfall. But you see, we allow politics into virtually everything, to the extent that when people who genuinely and sincerely want to help solve national problems, care is not taken. Engineers and planners, I know they are not only in Ghana. Virtually all the bigger countries in Africa, talk about Sierra Leone, Liberia, and some East African countries. And this is because the brother finds himself in politics. Hey. So I'm saying this because of the extent of swipe and the name calling. But I overheard. I was not too comfortable with the kind of descriptions and names that Mesa. If you want to download, I can load them, and I'm sure our listeners know. But I was very much impressed with the kind of statistics that you give. But you spoke more of as a partisan but let me go ahead. You see, one concern that Mesa raised has to do with the seemingly silence on the part of our traditional rulers or authorities who are the custodians of But you see, from where I sit, I appreciate the concerns or the silence of these traditional, because when we tend to give the issue too much political color, it becomes very difficult because when you look at our discussion so far, it's made the whole thing very confusing. Very, very, very confusing. But then if we take our time to talk on the issues, we may end up enlightening people about the whole thing, so that they will come along with us. It is not the name calling, it's not the insult. Because at the point it appears we want to incite, people against certain group of people. Of course, if somebody does something which is illegal, which is affront to the laws of Ghana, I'm not going to defend it. You know what I'm saying? Let us lay bare the facts as they are, so that the ordinary person out there can appreciate. So that at least our traditional authorities, whom we are now seen as being silent, they will what. Because you can only comment on an issue which you have knowledge or you have an understanding of. Without that, you cannot do that. So I think we'll do ourselves very good by trying to depersonalize and then talk about the real issue. Now on this thing itself, I think, of course, there appears to be some too many coincidences, which I agree. Okay, there appear, which I agree, and these are legitimate concerns. Okay, and because once you are politically exposed, you are under the public watch or scrutiny. So your actions and your inactions comes under the lenses of what? Public scrutiny. And that is why you have to be a bit careful, in terms of what to accept and what not to accept when it comes to public appointments and transactions that have to do with what? With the public. Now, I think the public, and for that matter, even Parliament, because if you listen carefully, it seems I'm not trying to cast a slur on Parliament, but it seems many of the people in Parliament don't even really want to know or understand the whole agreement, and that is where my problem is. Because if the concerns being raised, obviously, we have a structure. We have structures to follow as far as governance is concerned. We all know that on the three arms of government, Parliament is the direct representative of the people. Virtually anything that has to do with public funds needs the approval of Parliament. So, from 2018, when the MIF was passed into law, and when we listen to both Gandhi and the minister, they all agreed that the idea or the initiation to set up the fund is a brilliant one. It's a brilliant one. I mean, on that length, we all seem to agree. Mm-hmm. But the point is that when you have an issue where people try to paint a picture as if the whole deal never went before or didn't go through or didn't have that legitimacy, that's where I have a problem. Of course, there may be some lapses in governance or in a governance structure, or there may be some, for example, we have a situation where if you have very big majority of Parliament, if care is not taken, there is the tendency to abuse, that. That's why we say in politics that power corrupts and absolute corrupts absolutely. So I think on the part of the owners or the managers of the Japan Royal Minerals, okay, and government, I mean, they've taken the thing to Parliament as required by law. Okay. Now the onus lies on Parliament itself to do the kind of render the kind of service, okay, that is beneficial to the country. No. That is why I'm saying that there are some lapses. Okay. And of course, you see, every human being is a potential thief. Or let me say it like an examination. Every candidate is a potential cheat. Yeah. It doesn't matter how brilliant that person is, So it doesn't matter even how learned you are or how brilliant you are. If there should be a leeway, or there should be some effort to come, you'll be surprised that even the most brilliant person among you also want to have a taste of it. But I want to say that yes, those concerns that are legitimate should be brought to the fore, so that the public will be enlightened on the whole issue. For example, I've listened to the Minister for Information, Nkrumah. Okay. One of the benefits of this particular agreement that there's no debt financing. That is it's not what. I'm referring to that. So okay, and then also he even assured that government retains majority in future
we are raising debt, but we are not going to service it. The annual.
Yeah, okay, and that government even retains majority when it comes to future agreements on the royalties.
But that's the thing.
Please.
I'm not holding. I'm not. This program is from other program.
No, continue. You don't need to go there. Just continue.
There were things that I was not comfortable with when we were speaking. But at least
Just go on.
He has come up with government's view on the sort of benefits. Now, with regards to the civil society organizations, okay, I see them as referees, or I see them as people who keep politicians or party politicians on their toes, so that we will be able to do the right thing or be in line. Okay, for me, if the minority in parliament, or say my uncle, His Excellency, this is serious swipe and cast. I would I know that is the natural Ghanaian politician for you. Who will be smiling with you and very diabolical in mind. I'm not referring to you. I understand. Or say if Gabi, but when we have a situation where the CSOs themselves, okay, are also submitting in a way, like then we have a problem.
No, it's not a problem.
Oh, they have a problem. I'm telling you, because to call to say it appears one family, I don't want to mention names, okay. It's more insightful. Few years ago, more than 4 years ago, you saw the virtually everything, Mahama, everything. Okay. And I can tell you about 99% of the things that were being said about Ibrahim was false. Was false. And the impression was that he's a criminal. When power changes, okay, what has happened to him? That's unfair. And we don't have to sit down. Today, it is being done to Gabi Ochidaku and co. I'm not holding brief for anything. Okay. But we should remember that as long as government or the legitimacy for governance goes to an individual who comes from a family or a particular tribe, today it is the Akufo-Addo and the what family or no. The next time it may be what? It may be His Excellency what?
Mr. Thompson.
His Excellency Sabiali. So for how long are we going to personalize issues? If there are things that we know that it's really inimical to us as a country, let us point it out. The criminal aspects, let us point them out. Okay. So at the end of the day, it will end up enlightening the people. That's just insight. So next time, few years ago, President Kufuor was in government, and I remember, the hotel hour issue. Okay. And I sort of knew that people call President Kufuor plenty. So we end up demonizing people, then demonizing them. And if care is not taken, many people are moving out of politics, leaving it in the hands of And I can tell you, most of these radio stations, the local radio stations, that sort of language. And you could, excuse my language, you could see stupid people who are speaking. People who have no knowledge about governance, who have no knowledge, they have no clue. And they go there, they make names. I'm having Ghanaians here. Somebody taught us, I won't mention it. She taught me and her. We were communicative skills. We were. No, we must have been a politician. And you love it. You love it. Okay, but now where she's standing, where I'm standing, I can't make any comment. Okay, but at least she was my classmate or my classmate. And yet somebody will go out there, you don't even know the person. Out of politics, you go and tell the person some names, and then you think you are exciting people to follow you. No, we shouldn't do that. For me, if this royal Japan royals mean something, if we feel there are serious problems with it, and it is inimical to us, let us outline them, make them public. Okay? And perhaps impress upon Parliament that the fact that, and I'm sure when you go to the very advanced democracies, there are times where government enjoys a parliamentary majority. And guess what? It's not everything that the executive pushes that has the approval. I'm telling you, it's a fact. It's a fact. It is because, but our aspiration as a country is that we want to get to a time and a point in time in life where people who have knowledge, people not just see politics as a conduit to make fast money. Where the citizenry becomes so discerning, so enlightened that what issues come to the fore. It don't just be like, we have majority, so let us push it. Because if as a matter of fact, if the concerns being raised, which borders on law, it turns out that indeed it is not a very beneficial something. It will cast a slur and enlightenment on Parliament, and that's a fact. I have cited some comment on Ghana Web from the attorney general. I'm not too sure whether it is true or it is factual. I'm not too, because the social media.
It has not been denied. But there's no responded.
Fine. If it is true, then I want to commend the attorney general. But at least she is bold enough to say, look, Master, this thing is not good. My point is that whether it was set aside or not, okay, out of the lot, she's been bold, and that is why I disagree when you say the Akufo-Addo family. Because the attorney also has a link with the family. But yeah, okay. But it's a record, okay? No, listen. But she's a record to have what? Condemned it, or perhaps not even condemn what? Pinpoint the illegalities or the inimical aspects of it. And for me, I think she's done well. So it doesn't mean that everybody in the NPP is a fool, or we are all thieves, or we are all corrupt. No. If we take our time to, and I'm talking about those who are against the agreement, if we take our time to lay bare the facts, you'll be surprised majority of what Ghanaians will go along with you. But when you come on, you come good names and you insult people. When you insult me, I will insult you. God dumb, only. God was dumb. Or call Jabayebu. So the only way out to go into what somebody say, get somebody say approval or reasoning to reason with you is to try and I'm not saying we should always be diplomatic, okay, but And you can recall. You can recall. And I can tell you that though the government was prepared to, because it was one of the promises of his Excellency President Akufo-Addo. But when the public discourse began, at that point in time, the president came back to address the whole country. Look, from the sort of reactions from the public, it is unhealthy. So they should suspend what? And it comes back. Despite the fact that it was the EC who has the mandate by law to conduct, and because the whole thing was being conducted, though the idea comes from the government, but by law, while the EC has taken over, the president cannot halt it. So what I'm saying is that particular happening or whatever happened at the time, it is enough sense that Ghanaians are very discerning, and no wonder Ghana is unique when it comes to political stabilization. It's a funny thing because by our nature, we go to a hospitable. We are not too, what, for example, I don't know what is a good example, but in Nigeria, there is this very sharp ethnic differences. So that at a point, even if you live in the southern part of Nigeria, you don't even want to even have business doing with those in the north. And that's why the least you see churches being burned down, but Ghanaians, our nature is different. So I'm saying that the Mr. Thompsons and people, the facts, I mean the illegalities, lay it bare. Okay, explicitly that we the ordinary person. But I don't do the pedestrian argument that they are making. No, I'm not. It's not about you. It's not about you. No, I don't. You are even forcing me to go and speak to you. I'm saying, we are pedestrian arguments in politics. Because a lot of people, because of the prominence that media gives to people, that's why I'm on media. And you can see that the person is not speaking sense. I used to go and that will tell me. Anyway, I end it.
Thank you. Thank you. Ambassador.
Sena, good morning.
Good morning.
And, my daughter, how are you? I'm happy you have matured so soon in politics and political communication. Sitting here, I was admiring the integrity. But the end of it was. And I'm always proud to know that she was a little girl when I saw her. We did not go to that house because of the mother. The mother was real disciplinarian. Don't cross the front of the gate, making noise. So that was just to cool her. Even though I might not agree with some of the words minister used in this discussion, I pardon him. And why do I pardon him? I pardon him because I see a youth that is frustrated. I see a young man who feels that the future of this country might be better than what we are preparing it to be. And if you have a youth in that corner, certainly he would come out with some of those hot air. And listening to my brother Apon, he seemed to locate the argument in morality. But we are not dealing with morality here. We are dealing with an issue that must concern every Ghanaian. Because because it is one of the natural resources God freely and willingly gave to us, all of us. And therefore, in its disposal, we should all see what is happening within it. Not so. Now, if you read the Constitution vests every natural resources in the president, but it doesn't do so absolutely. It does so by investing in the president our natural resources in trust. Check the word trust. In trust for the people of Ghana. So the law and the Constitution places the president and his executive as trustees of our natural resources. And once you fall under the law of trust, there are certain things you cannot do and you must not do. In 1726, a legal principle was enunciated that of all the people in the world, the only mankind who cannot take trust property or benefit from it is the trustee. And that is the principle of Kitch and Sanford. Of all the people. And what was the story? For example, when Gabby was a young girl, her father, who was my very good friend, rented a property for her. But he was an infant. And then the property was that when he becomes a major, it should be transferred to her. But before he became a major with capacity, the lease had expired. And so the trustee, the person with whom the father gave the trust to, like me, decided that then I will renew the rent lease by my name. You know, his intention was that, instead of allowing the rent to expire and to go to somebody else, I would need to take it. Maybe his intention was that, when then Gabby grows up, I'll give it. And they say that you don't want Kofi as Kofi whatever, what is the name? As a woman, wouldn't you go to court to enforce his right? So the clause in the agreement that says that you cannot go to court, what does it mean? What does it mean? See, the only mineral that has not suffered value loss over the period is gold. When oil is falling, gold is still standing. And then if I give you the statistics of gold, as at the last 3 years, we have made about 3 billion of gold. And the mineral royalties support our budget in big time. No, so now you have mortgaged it 15 years and more and taking one bullet payment. In 3 months to election, what are you going to use that bullet payment for? What program do you have that you are going to use that bullet payment for? Especially knowing that you are going to lose the election. What are you going to use the bullet payment for? What program have you put before Parliament that I need A, B, C, D and that I will need 5 billion? What program is that? This agreement, like the PDS agreement, I agree with Mr. Thompson seriously, and I agree that it's a will to somebody. Otherwise, well, on Father's Day, what do you do? Say, Father, thank you, not so. That's why it's called in Japan. A good father. A good father. Why is Osafun Mafu not a good father? Why is he not a good father? If your father can cook such a deal for you, I have no reservation. Because it should lie in the mind of Osafun Mafu that he cannot do what he's doing to Ghanaians. He can't. If he has any consciousness, if this is the man who is fighting the Auditor General, this is the man who is fighting for his right, can look me in the face of Ghanaians and do what he's doing. So, in the MPP, Mr. Can't you all sit down and say, no, there could be somebody else apart from the one who's deputy managing director of Senate? Is he the only qualified person? Is it you? I know that you have done MBA finance. You, no so. Ampon, haven't you done MBA finance? What other qualification is there in investment management? PhD investment management. Don't you have them in Ghana? See, you don't pay people to chase other people, trying to jail them. Meanwhile, you are creating more dust behind you. As for the chiefs, like Ampon, I agree with you. They may not understand the issues at stake, but their silence is too loud. Their silence is too loud because there have been some cases which ordinarily they may not have understood, but they speak out. Sir, don't be worried that some of the chiefs are not talking. For me, it must be the responsibility of the youth. The youth who have lost their heritage fund. You know, we created a heritage fund. When Mahama and the rest found oil, they created a heritage fund from Sankofa and the rest. They created a heritage fund for the future. Ampon, your government has dissipated the heritage fund. We had problems with electricity. You know, Mahama, a wise visionary leader, created what? He created the Osla Fund. Your government has dissipated the Osla Fund. Osla Fund. He has dissipated it. In the name of the poor people, the IMF gave us 1 billion. No, so 1 billion in the name of the poor people. What type of food did you give them? What type of food did you give to the poor people when you have taken a loan of 1 billion, which you are going to pay? You fed them like dogs. People have a cause to be angry. For example, people have a cause to be angry. This deal, however good it may be in practice, is dead on arrival. We lost most of our road surfaces. So now, you remember, road surfaces in the Cocoa Road area, the eastern and western corridor, because your government said it was going to conduct an audit by the same Gabriel Chidakun's firm, Africa what? African Legal Associates. For example, the same legal associate said they were going to conduct road audit for 3 years. We have never 4 years. No audit report has come out. No. And how much did you pay them? $12 million. I wanted different contractors. Why? Why are you treating this country as if it's your bojo shop? You are going to conduct audit. So people have lost their lives on the roads. Yet you come and blame Mahama for what? Not building the roads. Have you created any fund? For example, has your government created any fund that will be for the future of this generation, future generation?
The MIIF.
The MIIF.
Yeah.
And that's the result.
No.
This is the result.
No, you asking me a question.
When we created
the creation of the fund.
No. His question was, has this government created a new fund?
Mahama created,
and that is what we are discussing.
Mahama created funds.
I have not disputed that thing.
Wait. Mahama created funds that were born with credibility. Everything you have touched, Ampon, have you forgotten the periods? How he packaged it? And in spite of the fact that the president himself was saying that people have been fraudulent, people have been they have been falsehood. What happens to people who perpetuate fraud on people? What happens? What happens? You are today, as I speak, innocent people are going to Yoko every day. You close people's banks on the assumption that they are misconducting themselves. If the producers of this program are not doing well, would the managers have to scrap the program, or they have to bring new producers? And on that note, do you know the number of people who have suffered and are unemployed in the house? Is that why you're asking us to give you 4 years, 4 more years to do what? 4 more years to do what? For more scandals? For more PDS? For more Ejapa? For example, this is a very serious country. The fact that people are patient and other things doesn't mean that we don't know what is happening. Most Ghanaians have made up their mind. And you know why? They have decided that they would give you a judgment on the 7th December. So you can buy all the votes. You can put all the vigilantes. You can do anything. But when the people move, you cannot stop them. Were we not in this country? Woyome. You remember Woyome? You sang Woyome for 2 years. You sang Woyome for 2 years. You sang Sada Jida for 2 years. Yet we are pedestrian when we're talking about Ajapa. Woyome, how much was involved? The record that most of your people were beneficiaries of the Woyome deal. What have you got? What are you doing to this country? Today, why wouldn't people come and sit on air like you are saying and talk? Because it's the first time in the history of Ghana that NCCE is giving nothing, but government communicators can be allocated 6 million cedis. So why wouldn't they come and talk like that? Look, as for us, some of us, we are old. We are good. Not so. But you should cry for your youth. You should cry for the youth of this country. That what your government is doing and bequeathing this country with, it's not good. It's not good. Why wouldn't they have brought this thing to public auction? Whatever, Ghana Stock Exchange, for people to invest in it? What we have done. Anything you touch is problem. People have become, don't touch me. You touch free SHS, trouble. You touch banks, trouble. Everything is don't touch me. What kind of life is that?
Ambassador, thank you very much. Ambassador had the last bite on the Japan royalties deal. But before we move on to other issues, you'd have to handle it in your next presentation, so just take notes. But you do it within the time that they are allocated. But thank you. So a couple of messages that I've received. David Sena says, when did we get here when a few people think they are better Ghanaians and are in a more privileged position to lead Ghana and took over all of its resources? December 7th is the day to change Ghana's destiny for the better, with John and Jane elected to lead Ghana. Thank you for that message. S. Jehuapia says, what's Ampon talking about? Is he seriously discussing in Japan? Why don't you remind him of the... Okay. So is he educating us? Or he is sent to talk about tangential issues? He has deviated badly. Well, that is... Charles Namina Samakese says, looking at how even Akufo-Addo and his MPP government, who are seeking for re-election, are greedily amassing Ghana's wealth and resources to themselves, you can imagine what they would do again to our dear country if they get a second term. Time is up. Let's kick out this scandalous and nepotistic MPP government to save Ghana's current and future generations. Musa Batwa in Kumasi says, Sena, it's shameful and unacceptable to see President Akufo-Addo, who denied Ibrahim Mahama the right to mine bauxite concession, engaging in this shoddy and nepotistic deal, after Attorney General advised not to enter in this dirty deal, described it as unconscionable, but went ahead in such hasty manner to seal the deal. According to Gabi Ochridako, he was absent on radio for 7 years, but found it prudent to start running around to defend this deal. Simply means he's a great beneficiary and knows the political consequences. Ejapa is completely a scam to shortchange taxpayer. Another PDS scandal underway. God save Ghana, he says. Kojichumbafu has sent me a couple of messages. One very long. Says, Sena, please tell my Kalampom that the fact that one of Robin Hood's merry men was called Friar Tuck doesn't mean that they weren't outlaws. The Attorney General spelled out why the Japan scandal was unconscionable. Note her words, unconscionable. She goes as far as letting them know that it was a criminal racket and an enterprise in stealing. So guess what? They went to cloak it under parliamentary legitimacy. Michael, might I remind you that apartheid was law Slavery was law. Extermination of Jews in Hitler's Germany was law. All those laws were passed by some parliament or the other. The fact that bad laws are passed by a government that simply seeks to use its lopsided majority to railroad cantankerous laws through doesn't make it right. The kakistocracy that rules this country today makes it mark by mortgaging our minerals, assets, and even debts and liabilities into bondage and collecting elephant-sized fees and commissions to the detriment of future generations. Good luck to all of us. And he says, I am one of the former appointees of the NDC who has been almost hounded into the ground. I have been to Yoko 32 times and paid a fortune to lawyers to represent me on accusations that were unfounded and being the subject of injudicious forensic investigations. In a day to come soon, we will get justice soon and very soon. And says, last but not the least, how much money did Akufo-Addo cost to be given to his brother-in-law from the infrastructure fund to build a private hotel? And how much tax waiver did they go to parliament to add? A couple of the messages you have been sending to us through our WhatsApp line. If this Ejapa royalties is bad for Mother Ghana, it must be scrapped without delay because we are sick and tired of MPP government playing games on us every day. Ghana belongs to Ghanaians and not a selected few. We remember the finance minister said the same about PDS, that the deal was clean. When was the end result? Why can't the MPP government be transparent? Why should Nana-Addo and his MPP government loot Ghana like that? We should kick them out come December 7th from Ablade Enefia. Kumazongo Takrade send that one. Thank you for your message. This one says, good morning, Pan-African TV. It's good that Ghanaians have tried Nana-Addo and believe people who really care for Ghana may not make the mistake to add another 4 years to his tenure, because every individual will go free under his watch. Idrisu Bimbila, thank you for that message. Some more of your message. Okay, so this one is from Lumumba Akolo in Tema. Patrice Lumumba Akolo in Tema says, what at all is wrong with this MPP government? Are they competent now? I think lack of their knowledge, Ghana will perish, as said in the Bible. Thank you. A lot more messages coming through. Good morning, Sena. Please tell the MPP guy that Ghanaians are wise enough. Mohammed sent that one. Well, thank you for some of those messages. Okay. There's one who says there are lots of hiccups in Ampom submission on this Ejapa issue. He has not been straightforward because of his political affiliation. That is his view. Gideon from Ablekumano says, kudos to your good works for Mother Ghana. Please, the MPP guy, to be bold to call a spade a spade. He's only afraid to say the damn deal is stinking. So Ben Intema says, I am very sad today because the late General Kutu Echampo proclaimed we must take the commanding heights of our economy. Today we are ready to replace those who we suspected to be exploiting our resources. Where is the commitment for nation building? Ben, thank you for that message. Let me read some more. This one says, this MP guy is you are not being uncharitable with my destiny. Gameko from Keta says, I will never call Akufo-Addo a president. When 78-year-old man begins, okay. Your message is not clear and difficult to read. It's not clear and quite difficult to read. Let me read one more from here, and then we'll move on to the other matter. King Farouk in Kaswa says, Ejapa royalties deal is a replica of the PDS scandal. The stealing under this government is too much. They are willing our nation property to their children, while food served to our children of the poor taxpayer in schools is nothing to write home about. Ghana is bleeding. Hashtag kick Nana out. King Farouk sent that from Kaswa. So those are some of the messages I've been reading from our WhatsApp line. Thank you for those messages. Keep them coming. I'll read as much as I can. I know the accusation will be that I didn't read your message, but I cannot read everything. But thank you. You're still watching the Mother World Talk Shows, Alhaji and Alhaji. Let me remind you of my panel. Once again, this is the first time I'm going to mention everybody at once because they are all available. When it started, we had to. Gabriela Tete is a member of the communications team of the National Democratic Congress. His Excellency Ambassador Sampiali is president of the NDC Professionals Forum. We have our good friend Mensa Thompson from ASEPA, Alliance for Social Equity and Public Accountability, joining us today. And Michael Ampong joins us today. He's a former Deputy National Communications Director of the New Patriotic Party. Now, moving on to the issue having to do with KRL Communications and their relationship with Mr. Ken Ofori-Atta. Started in opposition, he has moved to government. They're still working for him at the Ministry of Finance. They claim they are working for him at the Ministry of Finance, but open source investigation said no, they are working for the New Patriotic Party, not for the government, by being paid by the government. ASEPA have had cause to send a petition to Shraj. Mensa Thompson will start off for us once again.
Thank you once again. And before I come to KRL, let me address a few issues raised by my brother. First of all, let me say that I was never political in my submissions. I was very fair to the issues, and if calling a spade is political, then I'm sorry, my brother. We don't do that kind of civil society where we sit down and we clothe things with legal and long, big terminologies. We call it as it is for the people of this country to know, because most often than not, we confuse the ordinary Ghanaians, most of who are uneducated, cannot read and write, with these big terminologies. This is stealing. This Ejapa deal is nothing but stealing. It's a will that President Akufo-Addo has done for his family members. And the irony is that after writing your will, you are asking for another 4 years. I don't know, maybe your children should wait for another 4 years before they possess your will. So that's also another irony there. But Sena, the issue of, the issue of Parliament also comes in, which I've always had that problem with Parliament, that our legislative house has become more of a rubber stamp Parliament, and this Ejapa deal, I was expecting at least one member of Parliament from the majority side to be bold enough and say, hey, I'm from this political party, but this deal is fraught with illegitimacy, and so I'm not going to support it. We couldn't get a single one, not even one, all of them. And I have had cause to confront some of them behind the scenes. Unfortunately, because of the medium which I confronted them, I couldn't share those details. But when you speak to them behind the scenes, they admit that the deal is stinking. The deal stinks. You see, but they were not bold enough to come to the fore in the house and say, look, we don't care where it's coming from. We will not support this. You see, so my brother, we are not political. We did not mention any political party. The person who we blame for this is President Akufo-Addo. And if you think that we don't have any cause to blame President Akufo-Addo for cooking this deal and writing this will for his family members, then you have to provide me more evidence to provide that basis, or to support that basis. Now, Sena, again, the issue of KRL also raises a fundamental and critical issue about the presidency of Akufo-Addo. And for me, I am worried about the kind of legacy President Akufo-Addo is going to leave. When President Akufo-Addo leaves office, what is he going to be remembered for? What is the administration of President Akufo-Addo as president going to be remembered for? And Sena, among these things, one of it would be the absolute lack of respect for the laws of this country. Lack of respect. It looks as if President Akufo-Addo came to government with his own set of rules, and they are operating outside the legitimate document of this country, which is the 1992 Constitution. And everything that has happened under the presidency of Akufo-Addo has been fraught with either abuse of our Constitution or total lack of respect for it at all, or exploiting the weaknesses of the very constitution which brought them to power. Now, Sena, you are in opposition and campaigning to be president. You enter into an arrangement with a foreign entity. Foreign entity. Now, Sena, the first problem that arises here is ethical. One, the issue of an international entity or foreign entity meddling in the domestic affairs of this country, meddling in our politics. And we all saw the Mueller investigations in the US. Okay? We all saw how critical issues were raised against Donald Trump with his relationship with Russia and the role they played in the US elections. We're here in this country when some people were brought from South Africa to come and train some groups. So now you remember, the same under President Akufo-Addo in opposition. So you bring these people to come and help you, irrespective of the potential that your relationship with this foreign entity could create, difficulties for us as far as our internal democracy is concerned. That notwithstanding, you brought them, they did work for you, and then you became president. Now, instead of dispatching these people, because, Sena, what is political consultancy? Again, what was KRL, when you were in opposition, what was KRL doing for you? They were telling you how to talk, how to lie to the people of this country, how to carve your messages to convince people. That's all. That's what KRL was teaching you to do. How to carve your message, how to communicate, and how to sell your story to the good people of this country so that they will vote for you. They've completed their work. Instead of disposing them, now you say that, now after you help me win the elections, let me stay behind. I'm going to allow you to stay behind and still continue to help me continue doing the same things I was doing in opposition. So the fundamental issue that arises is ethical. Then, Sena, we come to how, after winning the elections, KRL was handed another deal. First, they gave KRL an arrangement to consult for the transitional team. Okay. So KRL was working for the office of the president-elect. Excuse me. So they were working for the transitional team. Sena, you know how sensitive, the number of sensitive informations that go on during the transitional period, the sharing of sensitive information between the party that is coming into office and the party that is in government. Me too. And you bring an international company, foreigners, to consult for you during this period, giving these foreigners access to critical sensitive state information. Then after this, you said you have regularized the arrangement after the transition period, and you've signed an agreement with them, with the Ministry of Finance, to do what? You said to work on planting for food and jobs, to work on one district, one factory, to work on 1D, 1F, one village, one dam. Is KRL a consultant, how do you call it, an agriculture expert? Is KRL now going to teach you how to dig dams? Or KRL is the one who's going to tell you where to site your factories? So exactly what is KRL doing for the government of Ghana, for which reason they should be paid with taxpayers' money? They should tell us. What is KRL doing? Saying that is benefiting you and I, for that reason they should be paid with our taxes. What are they doing? If KRL is working on one district, one factory, then you must be able to tell us exactly what KRL is doing in the implementation of that 1D, 1F. Whether they are the one fixing the factory plant. So now we have, whether now it's a PR firm that is building our one district, one factories. They should tell us. So, Sena, and that is why, as we speak, they are under investigations by the U.S. Justice Department. Because, one, all the services that they are providing to President Akufo-Addo when he was in opposition is the same services they are provided to him in government. When President Akufo-Addo is going somewhere to speak, these KRL people are the people who advise him on what to say and what not to say. In fact, these KRL people are the people behind the 4 More for Nana slogan that you keep hearing. It is the KRL people. And how is that 4 More for Nana benefiting me sitting here? How does 4 More for Nana benefit me? For which reason they should pay with my taxes? It is these KRL people who are, you know, controlling, now telling our vice president, told our vice president to come and do what we call the infrastructure something from the town hall meeting. They are behind all these things that you keep seeing. They are doing that. Because that is the relationship they have. Okay? Now, Sena, the other critical aspect is that we must look at this. The relationship between KRL and the office of the president. Because as part of the terms of engagement, which they signed in opposition, they were supposed to, based on what we call data, you know, empirical data or available data, advise government on how to communicate its policies and what have you, and its campaign slogans and what have you. Now, fast forward, bring that that engagement to government. What are they supposed to do based on data available? Advise government on how to what? Communicate its policies and what? Programs. Okay? Now, Sena, before your consultant or your lawyer can advise you, you first have to give him what? Information, right? And so, the office of the president will have to give KRL sensitive information, some including national security information, sensitive state secrets. And based on that, they will advise the government, do this. When you go out, go and say this. Recently, after we had come out critically and seriously to raise the issues about the banking sector cleanup and how cruel and reckless the whole collapse of the sector was, then KRL advised President Akufo-Addo to take a tour at the financial institutions. So we recently saw him going to the Bank of Ghana. It is KRL. They advised him, go to the Bank of Ghana to go and, you know, and then when you go, then go to SEC. Then when he went to SEC...
Unfortunately, you have to do the wrap-up for me in 1 minute. Sure. I apologize because of time, yeah.
Sure. So you see that all these things that they are doing, KRL is doing for the government. One critical thing we cannot take out is the information sharing bit of it. And the fundamental problem that I have is, what sort of state information could KRL have had access to as a result of their relationship with the office of the president? And what is the danger in that? What if these sensitive informations fall in the wrong hands? What if it is released to a third party or another country? So, Senator, that's the issue. So, and this is the more reason why we have asked Shraj that, look, the general arrangement with KRL, if you read the Shraj Act, Section 7A and F, but there's some misappropriation. Misappropriation means using public funds for what it is not meant for. The monies that was used to pay KRL could have gone into productive ventures that would have benefited the taxpayer, and now it was pushed to pay KRL millions of dollars. Then, conflict of interest. Now, KRL work for you in opposition. You come to power and you hand him another agreement to work for you without going through the tender process or because of your relationship. Mind you, the foundation that KRL worked for in opposition, which is the I Am For Nana Foundation, was headed by the Finance Minister Ken Oforiatta, who again heads the who now heads the Finance Ministry that has given KRL this deal. Serious conflict of interest. Then we have abuse of office, extreme abuse of your office. Okay, then we have the final one, which is corruption. And Sena, we want Shraj to investigate this issue extensively. And we must know, we must go even beyond the money losses. I want this issue to go beyond just government using state funds or public funds to offset a private liability. This issue must go beyond that. Okay. We must go into the ethical aspect of it and the danger this engagement with KRL, you know, with the relationship between KRL and our government could bring to us in future because of the information sharing between our government and KRL.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Let me just read a message and I'll go to Gabby. This one says, please check the governance style of Nanado and Trump. Any difference? I think the same KRL or the affiliates are doing same in America. Ghana, shine your eyes, and says, as we speak, U.S. government has mounted insensate pressure on TikTok, a Chinese app operating in the U.S., to sell the app to a U.S. company. But we are doing today the exact opposite. I think that's Master Richard. Somebody is calling the line, by the way. Gabby.
Sena, on this KRL matter, in December, no, mid 2016, when the election year was heating up, the NPP, through Mr. Ken Oforiatta, who was then heading the I Am Fonana campaign, signed this agreement with a U.S. PR firm for the scope was one was for lobbying services to help lobby government and U.S. departments and other foreign interests, and then for communication strategy. After they won power, the agreement was between, as I mentioned earlier, KRL and the I Am Fonana Foundation, not even the NPP party. When they won power, the arrangement still remained the same, with KRL now supporting I Am Fonana campaign elect. But unlike the previous months, where they were being paid their $7,500 per month for consultancy services, excluding travel expenses, from January to June, they were now being paid by the Office of the President, who did not have any binding agreement with this foreign U.S. company, PR company. That is where the first issue is. Why should taxpayers' money, because we all know that expenses made by the Office of the President are paid for by taxpayers' money. So why should taxpayers' money be paying for PR services for a political foundation called I Am Fonana Foundation? It wasn't even for the NPP party. Then in June 2017, the Ministry of Finance also enters into another agreement with this same company to now provide the PR services for some other project, as Thompson has mentioned. I find it interesting that the program Planting for Food and Jobs has a whole international PR consulting firm backing it. I find it interesting that the One District, One Factory project has a whole international PR firm backing it. I find it interesting that a whole One Village, One Dam project has an international PR firm backing it. Yet these three flagship projects of the government are the ones with the most, I'm trying to find the charitable word. Thank you. I don't know whether I should complain about the competence of the PR firm, or I should just complain about how we've wasted our money engaging a firm to be doing PR on three projects that obviously we all know the result of these three projects. Planting for Food and Jobs has been a scam. One Village, One Dam, we know what is wrong with that One Village, One Dam. We are promised all these dams. The dams don't even work. Peasant Farmers Association have come out to say that 90% of the dams produced under one village, one dam are not fit for purpose. What is the PR firm that they are paying doing about fixing the image of this project? We have the 1D, 1F, which the only success story we are touting for the past 2 years has been a coffee fruit juice. Of all the 200 and something factories they promised us, not even the existing factories that they've gone to support, have they been able to come up with any better story for us to buy into the success of one district, one factory. I wished we could have had time to go into the Mpp Manifesto, because that was actually what excited me to come here. In their manifesto, they mentioned that they have about 158 of the one district, one factories at different levels of completion, and some completed. In their manifesto, they say that all these their flagship projects have been able to produce jobs of about 1.2 million. When you go into planting for food and jobs, these are already small-scale farm holders, peasant farmers who have been involved in agriculture for as long as their families have existed there, with smallholder farms, doing maize production, cereal, rice. I haven't seen this PR firm, the output of this PR firm, doing any fantastic job on any of these flagship projects. In fact, under this flagship project, the Ministry of Special Development Initiatives was given funding equivalent to what should have gone to about 7 ministries. That ministry alone is sitting on over 1 billion taxpayers' money, and yet has not been able to produce any substantial results that we can hold this government to and say, oh my goodness, you guys have been fantastic. As my father, Ambassador Sampi said, everything they have touched has been like the opposite of the Midas touch. It is decaying. They touched free SHS, problem. They went to touch somebody's factory, problem. One village, one dam, problem. Everything they touch, problem. So what exactly is this PR firm doing for them? Because obviously it's either that the messaging they are putting across on their behalf is rather getting people to understand things differently, or that they are just saying they're taking money and doing nothing, like so many of Nanado's appointees and programs. I don't want to waste time on KR and Nanado and his People's PR Bashiri. What I heard was that in 2016, this firm were the ones who started the tag of calling President Mahama incompetent. As we sit here, the ones that we called our savior has proven to be even more incompetent than the one we thought was incompetent. Now the one that they said is incompetent has come out to even look like the greatest, comparable to Kwame Nkrumah. And the ones who came to tell us that that man is incompetent have been an abysmal failure. Nothing is saving them, not their new manifesto, not their delivery, whatever town hall meeting. Nothing this government does fixes the situation for them. Come December 2020, I only have 1 vote, and I can only vote for 1 person. But please, people of Ghana, let us not waste our vote. Come in December, let us save ourselves the trouble and just change this government. 4 more to go nowhere. It is ended.
Thank you. Thank you, Gavi. Ruka Abubakar is saying, Rookie in the US says, so now what is good for the goose is also good for the gander. 4 years ago, it was bad for Ibrahim to have concession, but it's good today to have Nana Addo's family take over the royalties of the whole country for themselves. Asafo said, Northerners have no resources for Ghana, and for that matter, don't contribute anything to Ghana. So the owners of the land have taken over the country's royalties. Posterity will judge this government if they can't take over PDS, so they have found a Japa as replacement. Habib in Italy says, Sena, good morning. To you and your wonderful panelists, Japa royalties is another PDS. I pity the next president, John Mahama, who has a lot of work to do. Ghanaians have never witnessed this kind of dictatorial rule, where rule of law has been thrown to the dogs, and tyranny, dictatorship, stealing and grabbing everything of the state is the order of the day. 4 more to steal more. Ghanaians, let's vote Akufo-Addo out come December 7th. Ampon.
Yeah. Yes, no. Well, I want to say that it is true most of the government programs that they intended to embark on is yet to get to the pinnacle. But when it comes to, but at least I'm privy as far as the 1D 1F is concerned, because the ministry under within whose jurisdiction this particular project is supposed to, I have some snippets of information and I can tell you I can count no less than 45, and I've sent you videos of pictures of some of the factories. Yeah, I mean, from scratch. Yeah, those from scratch. Oh, really? Oh yeah. Then your PFM is not in the I'm telling you, I've sent them to you. You can take a look at it. Maybe they should hire you instead. Okay. You do a better job at it. Oh well, I'm not. I'm on the reserve bench. We'll promote you. No, I'm on the reserve bench. The match is almost over, so we thank God. You know. Oh no. You know. You are aware. It's over. First half, please let him go ahead. The first half is almost over. So I want to say that when it comes to 1D 1F, I'm telling you, these are factories from scratch. Okay, and they are verifiable. That's why let us no. They are verifiable. The debate is they are verifiable. That is why I've sent you the video. Okay, so I can tell you, yes, in as much as it has not, in terms of the promise was every district a factory, and we have over 200 districts in Ghana. Over 200 districts in Ghana. So you don't have majority of them having factories. Okay. But that notwithstanding, at least some have been set up. She was just mentioning Ekunfi. There's yet another use factory at Kwabre. So if you after the we don't know it. Oh. You said that other factory was it that you are laughing. So are you not the moderator? No, that PFM is not working. The factories here do not have names. You only have Diapers factory at Botiano. What's the name of the factory? Massa. So you're not a moderator. Let him. You're not a moderator. Please. You're not being fair. You all tell yourself you turn yourself into moderators. But anyway, so I want to say, yes, I agree. There is a lot to be done. If with regards to the promise made in terms of having factories in virtually all the, but that means despite the challenges, I mean you could count some which never existed, which has been brought up from the scratch. Okay, and I'm very passionate when it comes, because if you are very careful, it will be twisted. But there's this particular issue that I want to plead with you about the disturbances at the Domi. Okay, it is. I'm surprised it is not one of the major topics for today, because I'm concerned about the rate at which our security agencies, okay, seems to be losing the sort of image. Because if we have, please, I'm surprised. So we are talking about KRL, right? Okay, and I can tell you, and it is something we should be more concerned about, because for people to have the courage to, I'm talking about ordinary people, to confront the military to the extent that they can even burn down military vehicles. It's serious. It's very, very, very serious. It tells you the extent to which was the sort of awesomeness around the military is waning. More so when we're getting close to an election year. About 3 years ago, we all recall how virtually the whole country was thrown into mourning on the major Mohammed issue. I mean, the entire country was thrown into mourning. And not long after, now you have a whole community coming face to face with the military. And I think there should be proper investigations into the matter. Okay, as to to find out whether indeed the military that went there, whether indeed they were they are from the regular army, and under whose instructions that they went to. And then secondly, we must also ensure that in trying to find out the veracity of where they came from, those people who also impounded on them or pounded on them must also be brought to book. I'm saying this because you see, I was one person who spoke strongly against vigilantism in the last general election. I can tell you, virtually everybody was quiet in this country. Virtually everybody, and I was surprised after the election. All of a sudden, people found their voices. Now, the election is barely some 3 months away. If even we know how Ghanaians by nature fear the military. I can tell you, in the late 90s and perhaps the early 2000s, when I became the assistant president, there were a lot of students unrest. Okay, in Ghana here, the mere mention of the fact that the military is coming, I mean, everybody, you see the orderliness. Now, so that is the only perhaps security institution that one of the name is even mentioned, or you will see one person. People know, look, these are people who are disciplinarians. Today, no. If care is not taken, and that is what I think we should be talking about now, because you see, we are. You are just accusing us of being the moderator. We tend to be deceiving. We tend to be deceiving ourselves as a country. I'm telling you. We've passed vigilantism, laws and everything, but on the ground, the reality is there. It is there. It is there. You do it so well. Thank you. It is there. You see, so let us not just and Ghana. That is how we are. When you see fire on the mountain, we just keep quiet, and then passively unconcerned until something sparks. The last time your mama died, look at the sort of crocodile tears that was shed in this country. Okay. Okay. And so should we forgotten.
Okay. I have 5 minutes.
We've forgotten. So I'm sorry, but I believe it's a whole topic that needs to be discussed.
Okay.
Because the timing when this thing happens, it's not too good for us.
Okay. Kojofi Agbe says it's very difficult understanding what this government and its surrogates are trying to do with Ghanaians. They have started with PDS, which couldn't work. Now they have moved to our natural resources. What at all is going on? Sape Agbo. Kojofi Agbe says the government own legal advice against this Zubiozi, but we still have some people in suit defending it. Ambassador.
Long time ago, during the days of that Boche, Ampon and the rest, the MPP said they had the men. That's all. Now you need oxygen from the Americans to be. Listen, I say you need oxygen from the Americans to pump your balls. Look at you. Look at you. You keep accusing everything John Mahama did. No wonder Ghanaians were not able to listen to the story of John Mahama. Even when John Mahama had printed his achievements in a book, that is why the Americans advised you to say they were what? Photoshop. I told you, say you had the men. Example. I didn't want to set my own questions because in this program we have the moderator going on. But if you are worried that civilians are now rising, something you have never heard before in my whole life. This is in fact, when they say I promise the soldier for river, whoever you are, you stop, and you know that. So, in our generation, it didn't happen. But under your government, these things are happening. Now civilians are beating soldiers. Civilians are killing soldiers. Now you say we should give you 4 more years. Civilians will go and take over the barracks. That's the fear. That's what you should fear. Because my friend ABA Fuseni, who said that if a lion goes to the market frequently, he'll be taken as a dog. You see, if you have an army commander who does not know the difference between his office and his relationship, and will openly appear in MPP functions. You see, example, it is not only this that the military of Ghana has been tested and failed. You know, we deployed soldiers for the first time in the history of this country to Operation Vanguard. And we have to withdraw them to replace them with police. Ebeyi. It's only under Akufo-Addo as the commander-in-chief that military men with all the strategic movement equipment will go into facing Galamsey, small boys and girls, and they will fail and they have to be brought back. Yet you want 4 more years. Example, that should have been an operational disaster on the image of the Ghana Armed Forces. No, so. Because this Ghana Armed Forces under Mahama have won many awards in international peacekeeping operations. Now under you are the commander-in-chief, under you as the commander-in-chief, soldiers are being killed, soldiers are being beaten. Not only that, even judges are being beaten in the courtroom. Judges are being beaten in courtrooms. And you say we should give you 4 more years. Your people, the vigilante that you were talking about before the elections, who brought them? NDC. NDC, what we had was this Asoga boys. Whenever we are having our functions, they come and give security. Have you seen one Asoga boy or NDC military, whatever you call them, vigilante, with a gun before? Yet, under the commander-in-chief, a parallel military organization is running. It's running. There are people in Ghana who want, some people's capital, Sena, is 200 Ghana cedis. Oh. 200 Ghana cedis for X. Yet you are confident to give tax waiver of 24 million cedis to somebody who wants to build a hotel. It's only happening. So don't lament at all, because nobody has created it. It's your government that has created it. You give for 24 million free, even math set from medical tourism. You give them $10.4 million a tax waiver. I see that is not enough upon the PDS scandal, which we lost 197 million. For example, do you know how much $197 million would have done for Ghana?
Have you heard they sued Ghana?
PDS, they should sue them.
No, they are suing Ghana.
Yes, they should.
Separation of contract.
PDS, look at that. If you train rats, if you train rats in your house, they become kangaroos, and they will stop you.
No, PDS was a company.
PDS in Ghana.
No, listen.
Please, let me have my time.
PDS was a company.
Let him finish first.
And by company law, the companies can be sued and they can also sue.
They cannot be sued, but you cannot sue.
Yeah.
See, fraud mistakes everything.
But what I'm saying, you may have your own personal opinions on PDS.
Mike, when they were saying it, you were not so happy when they interrupted. And I was intervening, so let him go.
You cannot put in law. You can't put nothing on. You cannot put something on nothing. You yourself, your bottom is with cotton wool. Then you are going to sue. We are see. But of course, they will sue under this government and claim judgment debt. They will claim judgment debt because in this country there are some companies who have not even taken a loan, but they will see that they have been given loans. There are companies who have not gone to court for anything, where we are giving them judgment debt. This is a country your government has given. So, as for us in the NDC, Sena, the last time I read in full the Mpp Manifesto, I saw this is a tired bunch of people. They are tired. Did you see anything in the manifesto? They have about 87 pages of achievement of 17,000 whatever projects, some of which you are talking about. And some of the projects, they say, oh, there's some factories that we have to give them money. No, so when Muhammad gave 10 million package to NS Chemist, did he make fanfare of it? 50 million, did he make fanfare of it? In any case, the Ekunfi Jews that you are talking about, who are the owners? Who are the owners? Who are the shareholders? And then if you unveil them, what is Ghana's interest in that company, those companies? Have they been registered as joint companies, or we have just dished out money, dole out money to your favorites? Ekunfi Jews or what? You have been producing for a year or two now. What is their profit and loss account? And what is the dividend to the state? You cannot dole money to your favorite or repair your the factories of your favorite and say that you are doing one factory. The last time I told you I traveled to Tamale and I saw the Palugu multi-purpose whatever it is. Mason, I don't know what it is. I'll show you the picture. We had the Palugu old bridge. Then it was flooded and became weak. So the armed forces built a Bali bridge. You know that primary type of bridge. On that old bridge, they painted it and they said that is the Palugu multi-purpose dam. What kind of life is that? So Ghana has become so cheap, that you can rent foreign PR firms to come and exhibit public toilet, one-seater toilet. When we had to move from Takoradi to Tema to go and see Tema Fishing Harbour, Tema Harbour. When we had to move from Takoradi to come and excursion at Job 600 in the 60s. Now we cannot talk about improving on Job 600. Our achievement is what? Our achievement is public toilets and a whole vice president with the biggest number of governments, in the whole world. Ghana has the biggest number of ministers, 124, unmatched history. 124 ministers, about 1,000 something hangers on, and your achievement is one public toilet. Your achievement is what? Covert. Give us a break. The motorway, what? The motorway are you talking about? Or Muhammad's interchange? Pokwasi Muhammad's project.
No, I mean,
you see, it is my friend, my ABA Fuseni again, who said a man who has no drums beats his chest to drum. You are beating somebody's drum and you are laughing. You are happy. Are you saying that Mahama Akufo-Addo built the interchange at Pokwasi?
No, you were mentioning the very smaller projects.
Yes.
And that is how that's how come.
Interchange. So you are claiming ownership?
No, it's not about me claiming. But that is the fact.
What fact is that?
Look, government is a continuum. Listen.
From Central Region. Listen. Yes, my friend giving his part because he's interrupted.
Listen.
No. You are from
the N1 highway. It was initiated by President Kufuor.
And credit was given.
President came, okay, and then brought it what?
The people of Central
into reality.
Ample.
Okay. So please, I don't know why
the people of Central Region are watching you. All of us sitting here, we have a relationship with the Central Region. They are watching you.
Yeah, I know.
You know that in the Central Region, we don't have any serious factory apart from Amin Sangari. That used to produce, and that one is even gone. So somebody.
But that went under your watch, and your founder's watch.
Amin Sangari, they are still producing, but at very
low. Five low capacity, close to
Mike.
But then you know it. You know
Mike, you're being answered.
Mike, I'm sorry.
I mean, why are you behaving like since you got money, you are behaving wrongly? You are from the Central Region.
Yes, that's a fact.
And I see, from Biposo all the way to Mankesim. When we were young, we could see tractor hauling sugarcane towards commander.
That's true.
True or false?
That's true.
So somebody said, no. If in all my incompetence, I will build a sugar factory for the people of Central Region. And granted without admitting that you say some people were thieves, you will not catch the thieves and put them into jail. But you would not operate a factory which could have employed about 2,100 direct workers. Look at the farmers that would have been involved. Mr. Mesa, Mr. Ampo, and you are happy from somebody from Central Region, you are happy?
No.
Ambassador, thank you. Thank you. Ampo, please. That is it for the show for today. Let me just read one small comment. A Japan royalties deal is a smart TV. Gabi, the Prime Minister. Okay. Please, when you are throwing people's name and you want me to make accusations against them on your behalf, do you know how difficult that is? Because at the end of the day, they hold me accountable. You don't mention people's name and ask me to be the one. You see, thank you very much for making time today. Ampo is trending on Facebook. That's why I didn't read a lot of Facebook messages. It's trending so much. Honorable Jifativo has joined. I'd like to say a good afternoon to her, and also a good afternoon to our affiliates in Ho, Global and Voter One TV. Global FM Voter One TV. Thank you very much for offering us your platform, and a big thank you to all the other platforms that has offered us their platform for us to reach out across the country. A big thank you to all of you.
When I went to Tamale, a group of young men met me and they wanted your number because they like the way you moderate, but I didn't give it to them because you are not. But you have such a big base in the north. So maybe one day you have to move this program to Tamale because that's where the major consumers are.
So, a good afternoon to everybody in Tamale. A lot of radio stations are actually tuning to us there. Majority of the radio stations are there. I think Diamond and Matambo. We have now we have Bewa in Yendi tuned into us. So, I'd like to extend my say thank you to the people in the north. They have been monitoring this program very keenly. But let me also say thank you to some of you who have been supporting me. I lost my grandma. I'll bury her next week. And some of you have been very supportive. It's been overwhelming. The latest is Emmanuel Dosu and some friends. Thank you very much. There are some names I can't mention. Of course, they said I cannot mention their names. But thank you to all of you for the support you've been offering. But I would also like to send my condolences to the family of famous Agama, who is being buried today. 37 years old, died in a motor accident. Very tragic. Condolences continue to go out to the family. And a happy birthday to Efua Crosby, MP. Today is your birthday. Happy birthday. And happy belated birthday to Mensa Thompson, who also celebrated his birthday on Thursday. Party happened. They said they invited me. I never saw an invite. But a big thank you to the crew here at Pan African TV, and a big thank you to the crew across and also wish Mr. Pratt a speedy recovery. We are back same time next week. You heard Gabriela Tete, Gabi for short, who is a member of the NDC's communication team, and you also heard Ambassador Sampiale, who is the president of the NDC Pro Forum. You heard Mensa Thompson, who joined us for the first time, who works with Alliance for Social Equity and Public Accountability, very strong. And then my good friend Michael Ampon, who is still trending on Facebook, a former Deputy National Communications Director of the New Patriotic Party. My name is Sena Nombo. Always a pleasure coming here. We are back same time next week.
He's the Redeemer and the champion of liberty, of human equality. Let's salute him, fellow Ghanaians, the nation's founder, Sajifo Kwame Nkrumah. May God bless him, Ghana showboy, Africa's great son, Sajifo Dr. Nkrumah.